Hey guys, hi, it's Erin from Earth Healer Movement. I'm getting messages, downloads for a epic message here about the presidential debate. Trump primarily is coming up a lot, and the assassination attempt. And I'm trying to record because I'm listening to my spiritual guidance. I went and got a sandwich, and usually when I go there, I go to this park. And this is a park where I usually give messages, and it's very spiritual to me. And it has like running water, like a creek, and little river, and I think it's a creek. And I've done walks here and talks, and I was getting downloads about what I needed to do. I already ate some of my sandwich, and then I ran out of my drink, and then I was going to get another. I left. Well, actually what happened was I was just looking out, and I was the only car in the parking lot pretty much. I don't think there was any other cars that I saw. But it's weird because it's a Saturday, and then I was looking out towards the river. I couldn't see any water, but it's pretty trees and stuff. And there was this family that pulled into the parking lot there. That was more of where it's rubble, rocks parking lot. So I was in the regular concrete parking lot, and they rolled into that, which was in my view, right? So as I'm eating my sandwich, I'm just observing them and how cute it was, because they had a family, 2 little kids, and the mom was fixing up the stroller, and the dad was getting the stuff, and they had this kind of a big SUV, a Chevy Suburban, or a Suburban, and it's right over there actually, because I'm just headed back to where I was before, because that's what I was being called to do. So I'm here right now. So that's the car. Oh, it's a Denali. So there it is. It's a black car. But I was here in this parking lot, which is, I don't think that car was here before, but anyways, it was in my view here. And so I observed the family getting ready to go to the river, and they were getting all their stuff, and the little kid was going around the car and playing and stuff. So I was just looking at them. I'm turning off the car air and everything, rolling down the windows, but I don't have my setup where I have a place to put you guys on the dashboard. So I think I can just rest you guys right there. I know this is gonna be an important message. So I was being called to go get this little thing that I have in the trunk, because I don't have my normal stuff, because it's inside. This angle is really bad. That's okay, anyways. I'm hearing that if I want the view to be better, that I need to go get that thing in my trunk, and I was being called to go get it. So hopefully I can find it quickly. Okay guys, I got situated, and I'm being called to give a message right now. And just to go back to that story about the family and their getting out of their car. The woman took off on the trail with her stroller and her kids, and then the guy was finishing up stuff at the truck at the tailgate, and then closed the back and then walked off. But the two doors that are facing my direction were completely wide open, and they were taking off towards the river, where you know that they were going to be gone a while. So I was like, okay, God, this is a clear message that you want me, that it's my job as the earth angel to go close their doors for them, because they're obviously not going to be closed, and they forgot them, and it's obvious. So I was like, okay, God. So I just walked over there and closed their doors and then walked back. And there's nobody there looking or praising me, or nobody knows about it. And I thought about filming it, and then I was like I don't really want to film. And then I was thinking about, before that, like not wanting to film and stuff. But as I was getting ready this morning, I was hearing a leader doesn't abandon their like tribe or whatever. And I don't want to feel like I'm abandoning, and I don't want to feel like I'm giving up or anything. And I'm scared to deliver certain messages now, because it's like pretty intense. I know this is like kind of wiggling a little bit with the wind, but it's 101 degrees right now, so I gotta have some airflow. So this is a really important message about the political arena, is what I'm hearing. So I don't want to have any preconceived judgments, or I'm like so serious about this. I want to hear what Spirit wants me to say, and I want to be a vessel for the highest white light. And I can only say, without my judgment, opinions, and everything, like to keep that completely out of this message, and to deliver the God's honest truth to the people. Because I don't know. As a human, I don't know. None of us do. The only one that knows, like Donald Trump and the people that are in the political arena, are those people inside of their own heads. If you know what I mean. Like, you can think that you know somebody, but then you don't know what they're capable of. Like, we didn't know that Trump was capable of being convicted or tried on to be put on trial for felonies. Like, I'm hearing different numbers. I don't even know all the facts, and it's not important. I'm hearing 22, and I'm hearing 13, and I'm also hearing 27. So, as an unbiased earth angel, is what I'm hearing. I want to be completely like separated from the message that I'm given, because I'm a human, and my own prejudices and judgments, I don't want them to come into this reading. I want it to be pure and authentic from the spiritual world in the highest of white lights, the God's honest truth, a message to the people. And I was getting downloads this morning, which I'm getting again, like my attention is being brought back to when I was in the mirror this morning, like getting ready, and I was like getting downloads. So you know how God was like telling me that like I was like Jesus and like the Messiah? So I was getting like comparing myself to like Donald Trump. Like, this is just what I was thinking, okay? So just separating, like, this is just, I'm like a journalist and I'm giving you guys the whole story of what's going on in my brain. Being a prophet, earth angel, truth seeker, sister of Jesus, okay? So I was thinking, there's a lot that happened. I was talking to my daughter about Trump, and that raised a lot. And of course I saw the images on the media and stuff of like Trump getting hit in the ear, what looks like getting hit in the ear by a bullet, and bleeding, and then him getting sympathy from like everyone, and him feeling triumphant and feeling like God saved him, and that it was an act of God that he's alive today. I'm getting an image right now of while he was doing that, like fist pump of like, yes, like with a bleeding ear, that at that exact moment, there's a man that got shot and is dying like right below his feet. And he's happy in victory that he wasn't the one that was hit and wasn't dying. Like, he got hit in the ear, but he wasn't the one dying. And like this is what I'm hearing, a good-natured response, or a normal response would be to take cover, because you don't know whether there's going to be more than one shot. Usually there's more than one. Like, you duck and cover, especially being the president and being a grandfather and a father and a husband and everything. And the normal response would be like to look around to make sure like other people are okay and that the problem is taken care of. Even if you are like an army veteran or something, you would, or have that mentality of like taking care of others, that you would kind of like, you have to have spatial awareness of like, okay, what just happened? I feel pain, I see blood, right? And kind of like cover and make sure like that everybody's okay. That's what everybody was doing, right? But he wasn't doing that. He was victorious. Like I have to watch it over again, and we all need to watch that over again, but I was kind of being like, I did, but to go through it slower, with second by second, like, to see, like, I'm questioning so much from that. At first I wasn't really bothered by it, because I was just like, okay, that happened and he's fine. But confirmation. But I kept getting downloads about it. And the more that I'm seeing, like, on, you know, social media and stuff, it's just bringing a lot of downloads to me. When I was talking to my daughter about it, I felt like this has got to be like a media stunt, because it's working out so perfectly for his campaign. Because when I looked at it, and the way that the media is portraying it, it's almost like too perfect, that it's changing the views of him amongst people, like gaining respect for him because he did the fist pump, like he wasn't scared, like he wasn't afraid, like he was like a believer in God. And he twisted the minds of the people in the media to believe that he's strong, he loves his wife, and his wife loves him, when that wasn't the case when he was president. It was a different story. I believe in like 2016, that's what my daughter said. He ran off stage because he thought that somebody was gonna like attack him. So he acted cowardly in a different situation. But people can learn from their, you know, mistakes. But I think I remember that too. I can't exactly remember, but so there's that. So you gotta really analyze, because this is the thing, is that because of my position as an earth angel and as a prophet and as your so-called God positioned me as your Messiah to lead us out of this chaos and destruction that is happening on this planet by humans to their own kind. It's almost like human on human destruction. Race wars is what I'm hearing. And political satire. I know that means like making fun of politicians, I guess. I'm getting a visual of Kim Jong-un, and I was telling her about how he was trying to make friends with him and Putin, and they respected him. So he has an impression that he's very strong, and that when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. So that's very intimidating to the other world leaders. They have more respect for him than Biden, who doesn't look very confident or capable. He doesn't look like a strong leader. And it doesn't matter if he's like a war veteran or anything like that, or he looks very soft, and he looks sleepy, actually. That's what I was being told. And compared to Trump. And then Trump with his big family and his grandkids and his kids, like loving him and supporting him and like being happy and being like looking up to him. That's what it's being shown like. And then I was also having thoughts of like Kanye, how he thought of him as like a second father. And then I'm like forgetting, I'm not really following like everything, so I'm just getting the messages that God is giving me by what I've seen, because I don't go out searching for things. I have them come to me unless I'm being called to do so. And I kind of feel like Kanye changed his mind about Trump. Like the community got on Kanye, like, what are you doing? Like, it's almost like you chump. Like you just got fooled and tricked by Trump. Because I'm getting the narcissism that there's like smooth talkers, and when you're around them you can feel like you can know who they are, and they're nice and they're complimentary and they're generous and they're like stable. Like, well, he's not really that stable like in his emotions, but he's pretty, like, he's been on this path for a while, like in business and in networking and making decisions and feeling confident about his decisions and his family and all of that. But you have to realize that the American people are almost like treating him like he's the Messiah, like he's like me, like he's the leader that was put in the position by God to take us out of our problems, right? Confirmation. But and you try to give grace to people, like with the prostitution stuff, and like you try to like try to understand like the things that he's done that you don't like calling celebrities like Rosie O'Donnell like a fat slob or whatever he said, I don't know, stupid and all this stuff. Okay, I'm getting a visual of Kathy Griffin, how she was making fun of him, like I think she had like a decapitated head that looked like him, like as a joke. And what happened to her was awful. I think her joke was awful, but she was basically like, I'm hearing ostracized from society, like broken by Trump's camp and organization is what I'm hearing. To shut up. She was basically shut up. And she wasn't able to work again. And she was humiliated. Belittled. And she's a comedian. So it's like, why would a president, or I'm not sure if he was like a presidential candidate is what I'm hearing, that he would go after a small comedian because he doesn't like what she said. It was disturbing. That I didn't see it myself, but from the, the thought of it is pretty disturbing. But that's what comedians do, and it's freedom of speech. But to go after somebody and like ruin their career because they said something that you don't like, or they don't like you, is not, it's not godly at all. Because if you really don't have fear and you believe in God, then no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and that God is on your side. And if you're a believer, you don't go after your enemies and harm them. You don't even care about that, because it's so insignificant in your life, in your mind, that you have more to think about than that. Even if you have a bazillion people around you that you could tell, say, hey, go handle her. And that's what he does. I'm hearing like he's in it for power, like he's a narcissist. And he's like, he wants to drown the fires. So in the business world, I can see where he's coming from, and his tactics and his manipulation of the American people. And that's what I thought before, but then I was kind of like, because of the shooting thing, the assassination attempt, I was thinking like, could he be like, could God be like telling me that like I'm not the Messiah, but he is, like Trump is the Messiah, because he's doing things that don't make sense, but it's like, looks like a miracle, and it's in his favor. So it made me like take a step back and be like, wait, what is going on here? Because how could a bullet, like, how could that incident even happen and occur? That's when you have to question, like, what is going on? Either it's an act of God, or it's a narcissistic, like, dictator, like, extreme personality disorder that's trying to control everything and go by any means at all costs to win an election. So it's either one or the other. And Trump has done the business approach where he has this slow and steady incline of schmoozing everyone that he interacts with and getting on their side, which is a narcissistic trait, in order for personal gain. So when he was in charge of the country, he did things that were inhumane, like and did not make any sense economically for our country, by like building a wall. And it didn't even make any logical sense, because it would take so long and so much money to actually complete the project, wiping out all of our resources that we have for our country, and they could just dig under it, or scale over it, or go around it. It's like, and it's like, I'm getting the Berlin Wall. It's like the Berlin Wall all over again, where it's like he wants to go back in time to create these like strategies that are old and outdated from his generation. Like if you want to keep a dog out of a yard, you put a fence up. And it's like, people are not dogs. Like, that's not freedom. That's not the American way. And it created a lot of tension in our country and a division among our people. So a great leader unites the people and is non-aggressive, and his tone and his behavior was very aggressive. And it was like going against the opponent and tearing them down, like verbally, trying to bully other people. And that's not of God. That's not a Messiah. That's not, you know, the prostitution and the hush money and stuff like that is like, that's not of God. And you can think like, okay, Jesus and the Mary was supposed to be like a prostitute, but it's in a completely different way. It was like a love and a devotion that took her out of the prostitution and like saved her and healed her. And so she was devoted to the leader, the Messiah, the all-knowing, the one that made sense and like could save. She saw him as a savior for all the evil of the world. That's what I'm getting this. So he's manipulated the minds of America and used strategies against them, which he learned in business and schmoozing with like Hollywood and all that. Like, if you're a true like person like me, you don't, and you're truthful and pure, you don't manipulate. You don't make friends with people that are not good people. Like, you don't hang around a bunch of people that are toxic, and you don't hire them, and you don't like make them judges, is what I heard. Like, you don't appoint them as judges and like incompetent people. Like, I remember that seeing something about a judge that, or somebody he was gonna appoint in a position that like literally didn't know anything. When they were questioned on the stand, it was like a woman, and she didn't know the basics of, I wish I could remember what that was. Like literally a basic part of her job. And it's really concerning. It's like, I remember thinking like when he was first inaugurated that I was like giving him benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, this is our president. He's being sworn in right now, and he's taking office, and there's nothing that we can do about it at this point. So why not give him grace and see what he's going to do for us? And then I'm hearing, and all hell broke loose. So when the division started, when he was on campaign and talking about the wall separating Mexico from like California and Texas or whatever, the border control, and having so much emphasis on that, like keeping foreigners out of our country. And it literally didn't make any sense, the fact that like his wife was a foreigner, and then like separating children from their parents and putting them in camps, and like they were suffering severely and traumatized. And that was like, for me, that was the end. It was like, no, this is not good for our country. And that was like the first month in office or something. That's what I recall. The first month or two after inauguration. It was like, no. And like, how is this guy even staying in office after what he just did or what he just said? I'm not really recalling everything because I kind of just like was like, what is going on? What is wrong with our country? It's going to hell. Like the Roe versus Wade being reversed because he put certain judges in high positions that had his own belief systems. He like switched out like half the judges or something, like from the Supreme Court, like and that was his top priority, was to put judges in position for his personal gain. So when he did get almost convicted of crimes, I keep hearing convicted, that the judges could like bail him out and like save him from any wrongdoing that occurred when he was in office. It was almost like he had personal strategies. There was personal gain at hand, and that is not a leader of the church. Our church system is corrupt, so he could be thinking that he's okay, but he's not. He could not understand his personality and why he's like that and where his trauma comes from. And I'm getting like personal, like family trauma, like his dad and his mom, that there's family drama and trauma. And there was his like niece or something that wasn't agreeing with him, and he had her like ostracized from society. Like anybody that speaks out against him, he takes care of, like in some way, that where they can't speak anymore, or they're kind of like ostracized. So that's what you have to look out for when you have like an upcoming dictatorship. And this is what I'm worried about, is like him and Putin becoming close friends, and him using his manipulation tactics on American citizens, because they're so amped up about him and following him like he's the Messiah, that they're willing to do whatever he wants them to do, and will follow him through the storms, because that's their political stance, and that's their ego is attached to their political stance. So to go against their political stance is to show that they're wrong to their members of society and their public image. So in order to change somebody's view when they're that like fanatic on somebody, it's pretty extreme. It's almost like you can't even override it. And I'm getting a vision of like Hitler. So when you have a masochistic leader that's self-serving, I'm getting that. I know that Hitler was like on drugs, and that was part of his psychosis. And I'm getting these words, you guys. But he was able to convince, with his charisma and everything, for people to follow him and his soldiers. because he was the leader, and that was the political stance, was that you follow the leader, whether you believe in their things or not, whether you believe in their political ideals and their viewpoints. It doesn't matter. You follow your orders. And that's what we're being told in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You don't talk back, and you follow orders, and you do what you're told. And that's a very problematic approach to, and I'm hearing violence and bullying each other, shedding blood for power. And then there's this like narcissistic attitude where you have no concern for people's lives, like it's all a game. And it's about like monopolizing, like the game Monopoly. Like how many buildings can you own? How much power can you have? How much influence can you have over others? And it becomes a game like that, where it's like war is just unfortunate, but it's part of the game. And it's not about, it's almost like that's just what needs to happen. And if these people are stupid enough to risk their lives on the battlefield, that's their own choice. That's what I'm getting. And like the higher ups and stuff, you don't know what they're thinking in their head for real. And they're just gonna talk the talk and do this societal talk that leaders do, because it's accepted among society, and it's been accepted from generation to generation. And so people will just fall in line. And he's really taken it to an extreme, which is very scary, that people will follow him to such great lengths as breaking the law and trying to bring weapons into the Capitol and harm people, and people getting killed and smashed in door frames, and like police being attacked. And I'm hearing Molotov cocktails being thrown. I'm also getting the Black Lives Matter, like people protesting, and like the Me Too movement and the Blue Lives Matter and all of that. Just a memory thing, even for myself, because we all have our lives that, so we don't even really remember the chaos that ensued. And that's what they want you to just forget, all of it. But we cannot forget. Just like 9/11, we cannot forget the lives that were lost and the hearts that were broken and the tragedy that ensued. That there were police attacking peaceful citizens that were marching on the streets for their rights, for their color, equality, humanity, peace. We must also remember Melania was not on his side and not close to him, was not holding his hand, was not looking like she loved him. And then I heard that they renegotiated their prenuptial agreement each and every time that they got in a bad space with one another, and then she would come back and be a fresh new Melania. So it's almost like in a negotiation relationship where like maybe some of her needs got met because she negotiated with him, like, if you give me this, this, and this, then I will do this, this, and this. And it was agreed upon, and he needed her for his campaign. So in Donald Trump's view, as a businessman, I can enter his brain space as an entrepreneur, and you're gonna do, if you want something, you're gonna do whatever it takes to make that happen. And of course you need morals and integrity, that you're not gonna do certain things, but he could have other people do things and wipe his hands clean of it. I want to actually see if his ear is actually, like, if that was... Okay, see, oh my God. That could have been, like, this is what else I was getting, is that could have been a political stunt with, like, Hollywood makeup. And then I also just got a vision of him actually getting, like, his ear, like, mutilated by a doctor or one of his friends, in secrecy, that he'll take care of them, like, for the rest of their life. They'll be set to do this favor, right? That's what you kind of do when you're trying to win an election. So it's like Hollywood makeup. Like, how the hell could it swipe your ear? Like, it's literally an act of God. But that's what he wants you to think. Because it was so close to hitting him and killing him that you feel sorry for him. And that everybody wants to... And then he was so strong and brave afterwards. And his wife came to his side, loving him and his family, his grandkids, his regular kids. But what if it was a stunt? That's what he needed to regain followers, to win the election. He needed a huge distraction to take the minds away from what had happened in the past and the criminal trials against him, and to remake his image. And to me, it's like, it's either an act of God or it's a maniacal plan from a power-hungry, greedy politician. Career politician. And he wants to separate himself so much from those types of people. But that's exactly who he is. He's a power-hungry narcissist that cares about his own personal gain and the gain of his family legacy in his name and honor. And who knows what diabolical plan he has up his sleeves once he gets in office again, if that happens. And it looks like he's turning the tables. And his plan is actually working. Because who would think that you would use stage blood? And who would think that you would mutilate your ear to make it look like you were shot in the ear afterwards? Because at first you're covering it up. And then the next day or whatever, you have a bandage over it. So don't forget his evil ally that got arrested and prosecuted. the New York mayor, I can't remember his name. I'm getting, okay, so you know how there's like this rhyming game that Spirit gives me? I'm hearing Bill Belichick, and I know that's not right. That's like a football player or some athlete or something. And I know that that has nothing to do with this other guy's name. Or maybe it has something to do with it. But I can literally see the person's like image. Like he's like balding, and he's like, was it New Jersey or New York? He was firing everybody left and right. And don't forget about the pandemic and how he wanted people to inject bleach into their bloodstream to kill the virus. He's not smart. That's the stupidest thing. Like, he literally thought that he was smarter than doctors and stuff and told them to go research that. When every person, like, knows that that's, like, literally the dumbest thing you can think of. And, he's used to having a team of people, like, around him, like, telling him that he's smart and that because he's paying them. And so when you grow up like so privileged in society where you can get whatever you want and use the government's money to get it, like bank loans and everything, or the bank's money, it's just life becomes a game and a power hungry, like game of like who can lead the world, who has the highest position, an ego battle of like, I want my family to respect me, and if I made all these bad choices, what can I do to change the view of my family in their eyes? I want my family and my grandchildren and everybody to love me. That's what it is. That's the childhood trauma, because he wasn't loved as a child. So he's going out trying to seek love and attention. And that's where his power hungry, that's how it's being fed. I'm getting like a vision of like probiotics and prebiotics. So he's like a germ, and he's feeding on the sugar of society to grow. And he needs like the medicine to like get rid of him. The cure. The probiotics and the prebiotics to like get him the pure, good bacteria to get rid of that bad, evil, cancerous bacteria that can wreak havoc on our country and our society. And it's really unfortunate that you have to look at the morals of people and discern the truth. But what if they're faking it for personal gain and legacy? So I hope that Biden's organization can, I heard him saying legacy, that he's not out for his legacy. But I don't think that hits home. He's the better candidate because he's not evil and demonstrative. Like he's, but he needs to be stronger. He looks very weak, and he doesn't look very competent. So it's like, that's what the people see, and they don't know what to do. They don't know who to choose when there's two bad candidates. But I'm telling you that Trump is not the answer. They're trying to change everybody's viewpoint on him, and it's working. and it needs to be stopped immediately. And if I'm the queen bee and my vibration is going out to the world and people are listening, and other people that hear me right now live, or you know, when I post this, you need to speak out as well, and we need to create the momentum of this viewpoint and remember the bad that has happened. Don't forget it. Don't wipe it out. It was so much bad that our country, he prolonged the pandemic. We didn't wear masks and stuff fast enough to stop the spread of the deadly virus. And that's what made it last for 1.5 years. So our economy crashed because of him in leadership. And he's trying to blame the country's demise on the current leader, when we know in economics class that the trickle down effect, that the cause and effect, that it could take years, and it could take 10 years to wipe out what he did. It takes time to develop. So the things that he changed when he was in office, we don't see the effects of it until years down the road. And that's what we're seeing. And then he leaves office, and then he's blaming the guy that's in office for all the problems that he created. And that's not how it works. It's not like you're in a household and you change the menu for dinner, and then you see everybody's happier and healthier the next week or whatever, and they don't have digestive issues and whatever, because you took something out of the menu, or you added something to the menu, like broccoli, and you took out like some bacon and changed it for a different brand, and like that was healthier and didn't have nitrates and additives and stuff in it, and preservatives. So you're not going to see the effects of politics right away. The economy is not going to be affected immediately or the next week. It's going to take years. When you change policies, like I'm hearing global warming. So when he took us out of the global warming world, like headquarters, so we weren't a part of like helping heal global warming, then the effects of global warming are going to rapidly increase, because our whole country isn't taking protective measures when we're producing products, and we're creating like a hole in the ozone layer, and we're not protecting our atmosphere because we're like burning plastics and stuff. If we're not taking care of our planet, then it's not going to happen right away. Like there's going to be like years and years where the ozone layer is going to slowly like open up. I'm hearing like open up, and like harmful rays and radiation is going to seep in. I don't even know if that's how it works, but this is what I'm getting, that we need that protective layer to protect our atmosphere. And if we are burning chemicals and things, then we're deteriorating our atmosphere. If we're not using our planet's resources in a efficient way, and like coming up with new ways of like building houses and buildings and structures, and we're using our natural resources and depleting our natural resources, then that becomes a huge issue for the longevity of our future, our planet, our humanity. And he's not listening to science. He obviously doesn't listen to science, doesn't listen to... He turned the whole country against the media. And there were problems with the media, certain media and stuff, but he turned people to not believe the truth when they were telling the truth about like the pandemic. And the doctors, like not listening to the doctors and thinking that he knows more than they do when he doesn't have a degree and he doesn't know. I'm hearing community college, like he basically like graduated from like community college or something. I don't know. Or like a lower type of college, or maybe he didn't even graduate. I heard something like that, but that could be wrong. But I don't think he's a very, I'm hearing astute, like he's not very like smart. Of course, if he's saying to kill the virus by injecting bleach in your system and like drinking, he gave really bad advice. Drinking resveratrol or something like that. Stuff that he's not a doctor and he was giving doctors advice and he was wrong. He was never a medical student. He doesn't have any authority to make any types of like decisions like that. And he literally was not listening to Dr. Fauci. And he was like, he just did anything to try to make himself look good in front of the public and fake it. And then have all his people try to cover up any mistakes that he did and try to strategize on how to win people back. So I don't know if the whole ear thing was fake, because it seemed, everybody sees it, how weird. It doesn't look like a real sniper. It doesn't seem realistic. Like, you know how he covered up the riot of the Capitol on January 6th? He, the police didn't respond to the people taking down the barricades and like throwing Molotov cocktails, which are like little homemade bombs and stuff. They didn't try to stop them. It's almost like they were told not to. And it's like, how did that even happen? And it's because like Trump was the president and he's in charge. Like, he was telling them not to, obviously, because he was the one at the rally telling them what to do. That they were bad people and they needed to be stopped. And you don't take matters into your own hands. And when you're a believer in God, you don't act like that. You don't get upset. And he would get very angry and upset, and and go after people and try to harm people that didn't agree with him or tried to put him down. And that's not how a leader, a Messiah, acts. And then he turns around and tries to warm the hearts of everybody with his family and his injury. And it's like, wait, why was there a kid on the roof? How come there's a big ladder? And people in the crowd like telling the police, and they're not doing anything about it. And the sniper on the other roof sees the person and doesn't do anything about it. And like, how did that kid shoot so perfectly to hit his ear, and then somebody actually die in the audience, like covering his family? Like, to show that there's real bullets, you know, like that it wasn't a fake, to not make people think that it was a fake. And it was almost like movie scripted, the fist pump thing and the strength and like the whole like family thing, the media coverage, and him to like get right back out there and not have any PTSD about speaking and feeling like somebody's gonna shoot you. Like, you're just jumping right back on stage. You're not afraid of any more bullets or anything, or like, I don't know if he could see the shooter. Like, I don't think he would. I don't think he could see that, like, he wasn't even observing his area that surrounded him. The parts that I saw, the immediacy after, it was like it wasn't even that big of a deal to him. Like, he was like, oh, you know, like, and then to think, like, if there's somebody like that, how dangerous that is, to have somebody become in office, if that is true, that is faking. He's obviously faking it. And that's the thing, you think, well, every leader is, like, every politician is, because that's what we've seen. But it's almost like he is so egotistical and has the power of manipulation and the power hunger and the ego that is so dangerous that he could tell the people whatever he wants. Like, remember the Twitter thing as well. He was banned from Twitter because he was getting the people to target and hate certain things that he didn't like. And that's not what you do as a leader. That's a dictator. That's like Kim Jong-un and Putin. And he wants to, like, become friends with them, like, and have them respect him. That's kind of strange. And not be afraid of them, because he feels like he's indestructible because he has the Secret Service behind him. So think about it. If you had a plot and a plan to get so-called assassinated, an assassination attempt, if you already knew ahead of time what was going to happen, then you can just go along with the script, the acting script, which he's used to in Hollywood when he was on The Apprentice, and you can go along with the plan. And that's what business people do. They plan ahead. They plan years, 10 years ahead, 5 years ahead. What is our goal? What is our plan? If any obstacles come in your way, how are we going to overcome those obstacles? How are we going to win back, like the Black community after the Black Lives Matter? How about Omarosa, which was the evil villain on The Apprentice, that he chose her to be in the Capitol with him. And then when she got fired, she wrote a book. Everybody that got fired from his group that he hired to go into office, he ended up backstabbing them if they didn't go along with what he wanted. And I'm thinking of, like, I'm hearing the pandemic, but like certain high-ranking officials were ostracized, like really good people like that worked in like the Secret Service and stuff, that he disrespected them and denounced their authority. Like he blamed them for something that he did to get out of whatever it was that he did to save face, to save him from getting punished or outed of office. So he would throw people under the bus that would go against him, his own people. So you have to remember these things that happened. I even forgot everything because it's like 8 years ago or 7 years ago, 5 years ago. And so much has taken place in our own personal lives and politically. Things have been so chaotic. And then him not, remember this, him not supporting Colin Kaepernick and then taking the knee for like Black Lives Matter, for Black people, and him saying like how that was like not good for our country because he was disrespecting our flag, when the whole Black community was disrespected by our country by making them slaves. And he has every right to have an opinion, a political opinion about cops being racist and targeting Black people and killing them and pulling them over and targeting them for crimes, like and having excessive force like George Floyd. I believe that's where it started. And the young, like, I'm hearing deputy in training, somehow I can't remember her name right now. I'm hearing Shamara Davis. She was in an apartment and she got shot through the door from police, and it was the wrong apartment or something like that. And she was an excellent member of society. And I know that stuff is accidental and happens, but they're very disrespectful to the African American community, thinking like they're all bad. And they're like prejudiced and racist. And like, there's no need for like excessive violence like Rodney King, like being brutally beaten. And then when they have footage on it, then the Americans can see what the actual truth is of how they're being treated. And that was a godsend. And same with George Floyd. It's like they had to risk their life, like perish, in order for people to use that to make change happen. And that's really unfortunate. And Donald Trump has disrespected women like over and over and over again in his past. Making crude comments and like disrespecting women, like reporters and everything. Part of the Me Too movement, a bunch of women came out to say how they were sexually harassed by him. And he was tried on that as well, I believe. So it's like, why would you need the integrity and the morals of your president to be like high. Sorry, I'm like sweating. I need some drink. That's one of the most important things, because you don't know what they're capable of when they get into office. You don't know whether they can start a nuclear war or a war because of their ego. And I believe he did that as well. We were all really scared about something happening with North Korea. And you do need somebody very strong in office. But you fall for his manipulation. You don't want a Hitler kind of thing happening. You don't want him dividing our country and saying, like, like he doesn't have respect for like different races, and then they're trying to make him look like he does, because he didn't. You have to look at the long history of everything and see what's happening. So he disrespected Mexican people, saying that they could like clean our houses or something, and taking the children away from their families and all that, and then he's saying like they're bringing drugs into our country and like crime and all kinds of stuff, like all Mexicans are bad. And it's like, what are you talking about? And the inhumane way of doing things. It just doesn't make sense. And when something is so chaotic and doesn't make any sense, that's when you know it's not truthful. But you can go to a rally and you can listen to him and it all sounds great because it's scripted. And he's used to being like that. It's narcissism is a real thing that it's caused by childhood traumas and how you were raised. It's a trauma response. To feel loved and to feel important and to build up your ego, because your ego was harmed as a child. And yeah, we all have childhood traumas and stuff, but you don't try to massively hurt people and try to manipulate other people to hurt other people for your personal gain. That's what he's doing. And I was hoping to have a better message and to not like be saying all that stuff and not being prompted and like encouraged to say more and more and more and more that I didn't even have to begin with. But I kind of felt like that was going to happen, and I didn't really want it to happen, but that's how I feel. And that's what I'm being guided to say. And I want so bad for him to be good and to be what the American people want and to think that he is. Like, I want that so bad. We all want it so bad. But that's not the truth. Like, I want my mother and my childhood to disappear, and I want to look at her like she's a perfect mom, but she wasn't. And she'll never be that. I can want it all that I want, but the truth is the truth. And I can pretend along with her, thinking, when she pretends like, oh no, this is me and this is how I am and this is, and to showing my kids how she is, but that's not who you are, because you'll backstab me in a second. At the dinner table, calling me out for something that, like, what are you talking about? That's not even who I am. But thanks for that. Which just happened like not too long ago. So narcissism is a huge problem in our society. There's a lot of good in our society as well. I don't want this message to be so like draining of energies, so negative, because I'm feeling the negativity and the sadness, and it's overwhelming. And I was really overwhelmed this morning. It was hard for me to get out. I haven't really worked today. I have to go work. There's very overwhelming energies. It's not good to have somebody have so much power and so much manipulation of the population. And you could think like, oh, he's getting better, he's like learning or something, or he's like a changed man because he went through a brush of death. What if that really did happen and he's like cares more about his family and like why was Melania for 4 years like hating on him? Not wanting to hold his hand, not wanting to look at him. She didn't have good facial expressions. She was literally like, looked miserable with him. Like and now she's a completely different way. She didn't even speak before. People didn't like her. And now everything's changing. Like he has a perfect family. It's literally like, stuff doesn't happen like that. Like, it's all about negotiating with people. And Trump could be like, he could not even be aware of what he's doing. He could just have that old school mentality of when he was younger and how things were better. Like our economy was better. Like he could buy a bunch of buildings, and he could like spend like crazy, like in the 80s, and he can like, and everything was booming, the economy and everything, and he could like, and nobody told him like not to spend lavishly and stuff. Like he could flaunt his wealth, and he could have fun and parties and drugs and like women, and he can, and everybody was celebrating because everybody was doing good. Like that's what he wants. He wants life to be a big party and to celebrate and to love him for giving it back to them. And it's all about money and materialism. And he's buying his family's love and saying, look, you got wealthy because of me. Like, look, you have, everything you have is because of me and what I taught you and what I did for us. And you have jobs and you have homes and you have lives that are because of me and my guidance. But why don't you listen to the niece that was telling the truth book, the books that were written about him that were the truth of like before? He's not a changed man. He's still the same man. He's still the same man that pays people to be quiet and puts people in office so that he can get like acquitted, or like he doesn't get convicted of crimes that he commits. He thinks he's above the law and that he's the ruler, that he's the king, that he's the one in power, that he's the smartest person on earth, that he can control the world. Like the Doofenshmirtz. So we have to just like pray for the best. I'm hearing that word pray. I'm seeing the word pray and a line through it. Okay, we don't pray because praying takes the power out of our hands. So we need to manifest. That's better. We need to take the power within us and our power of our voice and our ability to manifest things and to speak out on it, our opinions and what we see, and remind people of the past, and that the past is a good indication of the future. And to just, understand that there could be different angles to the story, and to not just believe everything that you hear and see, that you have to listen to your heart and listen to your gut that says that doesn't make sense, how that happened. How everybody's questioning, like, just like the JFK shooting. And then they couldn't, I don't even know if that, I don't know all about that, but I know there's like all kinds of conspiracy theories, and like I think they arrested some guy and they had a whole situation, something about a theater and a gun, and like I think he went into a packed theater or something like that, or a theater to hide. I'm also hearing library. So there was different scenarios, like different places that the shooter could have been. I remember seeing that, and and listening to, watching documentaries and stuff about that when I was like in high school or something, or college. But there's conspiracy theories of how the person that was arrested for the shooting of JFK didn't actually do it. I'm hearing grassy knoll. Like somebody was on the grassy knoll shooting and things. Like somebody got away with it when somebody else was thought to be the person. It was like a setup or something. I'm seeing Abraham Lincoln. I don't know if there was an assassination attempt on him. I'm hearing like John Barr or like Aaron Barr or something like that. I don't know why. That's like my name. That's weird. I kind of heard Jamie Aaron Barr or something. I don't know. But I gotta go. I'm like sweating. It's really hot here. So let's just try to keep a positive attitude and hope that nothing disastrous happens. Catastrophic happens. We have to have faith and believe in God, and my messages are going to guide us in this fight for humanity, to save humanity. We're gonna make a difference, and everything's gonna turn out the way it needs to. What I'm kind of getting is like the evil is gonna destroy itself. It's almost like this galactic fight where the dark evil like bombs, and then it kills its own self, like it kills its own people, and it's wiped out, where only the good are left. And that's like the salvation, like the Jesus resurrection, the salvation. And so you have to have faith and belief and stay true to who you are and follow the integrity and morals, your moral compass, and then everything will, it's like card shuffling in a deck. Like the hearts are gonna win, like the cards are gonna be played, and like the darkness is gonna be eliminated, and the light is going to rise to the top. Like the diamonds and the stars are going to survive. And you have to have faith and belief and hope, and you can't give up on that. You have to believe in the goodness of the universe, that all is good, and that your thoughts and your ideas and your words are important, that they're getting out there into the ethers, that people are hearing them, maybe not directly but indirectly. They're listening and they're hearing them, and we're one consciousness, we're one big brain. And it's like signals, like my pulsating signal, my cellular membranes are pulsating out into and traveling to other parts of the body, other parts of the nucleus, from the nucleus to the other parts of the body. Our whole system is connected. And so it's like pain receptors. Like we're calling in for more blood supply. We're pulsating a signal out that we need more blood supply. We need people to listen. We need people to remember. We need people to not fall for it. We need people to have hope and faith that even if he does get into office, that everything will work out. That you can't do that kind of stuff, like karma will get back at you, like a real assassination could happen. And he could think he's on top of the world, and he manipulated the whole world by getting in office again and then getting shot down. As a public display of humiliation on the highest degree. That's really powerful. I was seeing like an image of him with like his hands up, like he had just won the election, like he was like his victory, like this smug look on his face, like he won, you know, like he really did it, like he was so proud of himself, and then getting shot and killed in the head or the chest, or multiple shots, like 3 or 4 shots. That's crazy. I don't wish that on anybody, but if he really was deceptive to America and saying, he might even be like considered a hero after that by these diehard fans, the fanatics. And they could even come after like the government because their leader has gone down. Oh my God, it's literally insane. The own government like might take him out themselves. The own Secret Service might, and government might conspire to take them out themselves because they can see all the corruption. All the people surrounding him in office the first time could see his corruption and went on trial to testify against him. That he was a liar, and that he was a manipulator, and that he would cover up things, and that he would go after people. There was testimony after testimony after testimony about that. Okay, let's go about our business and our day and pray for the best. Take care of your families, and I'll talk to you next time. Sorry for this harsh, truthful message. Bye, guys. Peace.